really, really proud of how he's matured. Rhys has written a thoughtful speech that demonstrates his immense growth throughout middle school, and I know he's excited to get it over with and have it checked off the list. So, are you?
Yes.
All right, Rhys special.
Believing in yourself is essential. As Theodore Roosevelt once said, believe you can and you're halfway there. Me's speeches focus on growth during middle school, so I'd like to share my experience. At the beginning of 5th grade, I felt intimidated by new challenges such as increased homework, longer nights dedicated to studying, and the 7th and 8th graders. My year started well. In the first month of school during recess, one of the big questions all my friends were asking was, what sport are you going to play? I had no idea because this was the first year we were even allowed to play sports. I was thinking about playing soccer, and I knew that some of my friends were going to try out for the team. I did enjoy playing the game during recess also. Quite a few students mentioned that they were on academies or clubs, A or B teams. The thought of trying it out against kids who had much more experience and I meant talent was intimidating, but I signed up anyway. Our first few practices went well, and we felt confident heading into our first games. We struggled against teams like Woodfield and Anchorage, but did well against the others. It's almost the end of the season, and we're in the quarterfinals. There's barely any time left in the game, and it's a draw. Then we go to penalties. I was surprised to hear my name called to take one, but we all stepped up and ended up winning the penalty shootout. Even with the pressure from the other team's parents and our own, we had high hopes for the next game, but unfortunately we lost. Even though it was sad, we're happy we made it this far, and it gave me the confidence to try out for Fall City. I made it to tryouts, and there were several players better than me, but I worked hard and made it to the B team. We weren't the best in tournaments or games, but I had fun and learned a lot about the sport. Ever since I played on a club team and a school team, soccer has become most of my life. Owning countless jerseys that even my parents and sister think are too many, this shows in my quote that even though I didn't originally think I was good enough, with dedication and believing in myself, I can be part of the team. When we first came back into 5th grade, coming back from online learning, it was hard to readjust back to school, especially with all the new work we were going to be doing. But I was excited for Miss Young's history class because my sister, who I had in 4th grade, told me how great she was. When we first went back to school, it was looking like a review in English and math and some exciting new topics in history. But as we moved forward, I had no clue what all the symbols and equations meant and what a hyperbole was. I thought this was normal for when you start, and then I would just have to keep up the study habits from 4th grade, which were not that much. I unfortunately did not realize that this wasn't the case, and I fell behind on work. I worked hard and continued my study habits, and by the time it was the end of the year, I brought my grades up and was ready for 6th grade. I continued working hard but was scared by Miss Payne's English class, and at the start of 7th grade, I realized that the reason Miss Payne assigned so much homework was to prepare us for this. But it was a lot of fun working on prompts and listening to others, also at Mr. Long's class, because we got to learn a lot of new things like PS4 and immigration. We had to see so many new things in an engaging class through all of 7th grade. Now, in 8th grade, we have 1,000 tests, homework, and many classwork assignments, but I always had help from my teachers and friends. Especially at the start of this year, I was really struggling with Spanish and was clueless about what Profe was saying. But one day, I just asked him for help from him and my friend, and now I'm really enjoying the class and the activities we're doing. In addition, Mr. Haas's class has always been very fun and engaging. I love all my classes because of all the great teachers I've had and had before. They are now helping me grow and become a better person and a student. As I look back on middle school, because I believed in myself, I was able to improve my study habits and work ethic. When I started middle school, I wasn't going out very much because I only ever had my friends over or was invited to their house. I was hearing a lot about people talking about things they were doing, and I was wondering what I would do. I found out 5 of my friends lived right near me, and I was super happy. I immediately started hanging out with them and biking around. But the only thing a bunch of 5th graders could do was biking to Target or the park. I remember so many fun things we did, like riding the chair scooters and shopping for things that were way out of our budget. The best thing was the summer before 6th grade, when we were going biking every day for 6 or more hours. practicing soccer at a dusty field where we lost several soccer balls. I remember trying to score a bicycle kick and hurting my back several times. I also remember wearing shorts when it was 30 degrees out and going to play with a flat soccer ball. This relates to my coat because it's given me more confidence in meeting new people and talking to people I've ever met. One thing I love is to travel. Over the past few years, I've gone to Alaska and Italy. I'm extremely grateful to be able to go on trips like these, especially for all the new information I learned. When I was in Alaska, I was with my cousins, and we were on a tiny boat. I felt nervous because I didn't know a single person there besides my family, and was scared of all the activities that we had planned, like fishing and crab catching. We were a few days in, and after breakfast, there was an announcement that we were going to be going on little boats on a small island to go hiking. I was very scared, especially because they told us there were wild animals, but I ended up really enjoying it and getting to see massive trees and beautiful streams. Later on the trip, when it was time to go fishing, I was annoyed because when I'd gone fishing before, I usually never caught anything. But this time was different. We had tons of little rockfish and other small fish. I was super excited because I never thought I could catch this many things before. As we were about to go back to the bigger boat, we stopped for one last time, and then it happened. I felt a large tug on my line and barely held on. My uncle even had to hold on to it for me, but we reeled it in. It was an 80-inch halibut, and it was huge. I was so excited because it was the biggest one of the day. The only thing was due to regulations, it was too large to keep. So we released it and went back to the boat. I got to flex on everyone while they got smaller fish. My other favorite trip was to Italy. We flew into Rome and went to our hotel. On the way there, we saw beautiful buildings and cathedrals and crazy large statues. They're some of the biggest things I've ever seen. Next day, we were doing a tour of the Colosseum, which I learned about in our class museum. And as we walked up, it was one of the largest and prettiest things I've ever seen. Even though part of it was crumbled, we learned it had been damaged from fire, storms, earthquakes, and there had been gladiators there. Most surprising is they used to have naval battles inside. They would put water in and seal off the lower level, which is crazy that a building could have naval battles. We later went to the Roman Forum and saw old places of worship, and even got to see where Julius Caesar was cremated. We then went to the Trevi Fountain with large carvings by Michelangelo. The next day, we went on a train to go to Venice, and as we got out of the station, we hopped onto a boat and left our hotel. Once we unpacked, we got to go on a guided tour where we saw old marketplaces, cathedrals, and towers. Water was beautiful. After Venice, we went to Tuscany and saw the hilltops where they were growing many, many different things. We ate at a winery and later went down near Naples to the Amalfi Coast. As we were in a van trying to go down what should have been one-car lane, we saw black sand beaches and wind farms. Sadly, after that, we had to come back as spring break was over. Over the years, I've developed an interest in history and the outdoors, which we learn about in science and with Mr. Haas's class. I love learning new things and seeing ancient ruins, beaches, and remote islands, which has made me love to travel and become a big part of myself. This ties back to my quote because all the things I've seen help me gain more knowledge and understanding of things I never knew. I would like to dedicate my speech to my family, who are always supportive, my school coach, Rocky, for helping me become a better player, Miss Ewing for being a great teacher, and Zach Raymond, who's one of the funniest people I've met, even though sometimes he gets in trouble. Thank you for listening to my speech.